I honestly couldn't think of a better casting choice for this character. So Skeet Ulrich, who for people who don't know, yeah, reportedly playing Henry in the FNAF movie. Henry is kind of like the creator of FNAF, or not FNAF, but pizzeria. So we're going to have Henry and William Afton here. So these two, I don't think have been together basically since Scream. Um, so I couldn't think of a better, because they've already worked together. Um, Now while Henry and William hate each other, they were friends at once, so very much like a relationship that these two had. Um, but some just minor things happen, just small little things like, William killing Henry's daughter, just you know, it's like, oops, whoopsie cadabra, I killed your daughter. Hopefully this doesn't affect our friendship. William forcing these children into these horrible situations where their souls aren't able to move on, where they're essentially trapped and tormented. You know, so their relationship took a little bit of a strain, a little bit of a hit there. Um, Henry finding out that his child, the one that you know William murdered, also inhabits one of these animatronics. Now in the books we see Henry. In the books, the Mangle. In the books, this is what Henry looks like. So that's Henry in the books. We've never seen him in the games. We've heard his voice, we hear his name. We've never actually seen him. But here is probably one of the best scenes in FNAF. This is the ending for the pizza simulator. And we hear him throughout the game, throughout the different nights. He kind of he doesn't really introduce himself. He doesn't say who he really is. But he kind of tells you what your job is, and the process of when you bring in the animatronics, like, oh yeah, make sure you go outside and check to see if there's any animatronics out there. And he gives you like a thing, like a list of things, like where you have to do the sounds and all that, to determine whether or not it's a keep or throw away. Obviously they're all keep because they all have spirits inhabiting them. He also created Lefty, who is one of the animatronics, to kind of lure in his daughter. Because Lefty in the game, and when you look at the model, you can see the puppet inside the animatronic. So he created this thing just to lure his daughter in so he could release her as well. But this is probably one of the coolest parts of FNAF up until even now. Even now, it's 2025 now, and this is still probably one of the coolest, most badass situations.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name, but I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered. and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace and perhaps more waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
It's so good. Like, this is the only real interaction we get with the guy, is this hearing his voice, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with what's happening right now. I'm gonna kill myself too. You know, the place is burning. Don't worry, I'm here. You can't see me, but I'm here. I'm going down with my ship." He is so badass. You know, with the thing with him and William, the darkest pit of hell is open to swallow you whole. It's just, oh my god, it's so freaking good. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend. But yeah, and then I saw this. Oh yeah, here's Toy Bonnie. Looks amazing. Then I saw this, which we've never gotten to see Mangle fully together. We've always seen Mangles like, you know, just climbing on the freaking ceiling and stuff. So being able to see Mangle before they were, you know, Mangle, we get to see the puppet, which I'm really interested in seeing how that's going to work. Is it going to be like everything else and be like a physical animatronic type thing like they did for the original trio? That we same thing we see for you know, Toy Bonnie, because obviously you can see it's clearly or not Spring Bonnie, Toy Bonnie. You can see it's a very these things are real. You know, on the set they are real. I mean, well, they do a mixture when it comes to like the more actiony things, like in the first movie with the cupcake. You know, that's like CGI stuff. But when they're interacting, they're standing on stage or they're just kind of walking around interacting. Those are real. It's a mix between people in costumes and actual animatronics, which is amazing. It's amazing. Like right here, this is this one from Dawko. I think him, Dawko, Raz, 8-Bit Ryan, and other Ryan, they all went to the set and they got to meet the crew here.
Your friend's coming, Chica.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yay!
He's coming? It's your baby?
Oh.
Remember, don't eat your child.
Like, look at that. Like, they look good. You know, Foxy. Like, Foxy, this is animatronic. It's amazing looking. So to see Mangle look like this, like a physical, and same thing with the puppet, to have the puppet like this physical thing where, you know, it's either, well, the actor, no, I think it would have to be, luckily enough, the puppet isn't very complex. It doesn't move around a whole lot. You know, they just kind of like, they kind of do a little lunge with a jump scare, but do you see how skinny the puppet is? Their legs are like this thick. So I don't think they'd be able to get a person in there. They'd have to build an animatronic that can, you know, the lunging, it's not that hard. You know, you have it on the rig and all that. But yeah, puppet would, they would not be able to have a person inside the puppet. There's no way. I mean, maybe if they did some, like a suit, but then had like some CGI trickery, where they kind of everything down, because again, the puppet is, yeah, you're not getting anyone inside something like that. There's no way. No way a person would be able to portray this unless they had some kind of suit and just made, CGI'd everything to give it these kinds of weird proportions. But again, the puppet doesn't do anything. They don't do, when you see them in their in the prize, the prize corner, they're just kind of like, and then, the thing is just like a lunge. But because they're kind of otherworldly in nature, I don't think they're gonna. I think they're just kind of like gonna float around like an ethereal spirit, essentially. So I think animating this thing, and keeping it animatronic would probably be the best thing, because they don't really move. And I would imagine if we do see the puppet, it may be maybe later on, because I think we'll see. Actually, at this point, Elizabeth should already be, or Charlie should already be the puppet. Elizabeth is Baby, or William's daughter. That's who he said was Elizabeth. He was referring because Baby was talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you even remember that name." Elizabeth is Baby. Charlie is the puppet. But yeah, just this dude playing Henry, perfect. Perfect. Again, him and Matthew Lillard already have experience working with each other. They had really good chemistry when it came to on screen. It's now 2025, not 1996. So they've both grown as actors. And honestly, I mean, with Henry, I kind of imagine this is what Henry would, the base look of him. This is kind of like what I imagine Henry would look like. Maybe a little older. But that's kind of what I would imagine Henry, facial structure and everything. It's what I would imagine Henry would look like. So I think really, really good casting. He's a great actor. So, blood. Escape room. Cream. Cream coming out in 2026. Oh man, we're not doing Scream anymore. Now it's Cream. That's what you're gonna do when you see the movie. You're gonna be like, oh, it's someone pointed it out over here. Cream. Yeah, I can't think of a better actor for this role. I know we're gonna be seeing Vanessa. Golden Freddy's also in the second game. So are we going to see more Golden Freddy? I mean, Golden Freddy just kind of appears at the end of the hall sometimes, and he'll pop up in the office. It's not really much of an office when it's so open like that. But are we going to see Golden Freddy as well? Are we going to see Balloon Boy and JJ, his sister? JJ is one of those rare occurrences where I think when you're during the day, during the nights, sometimes you can see her under the desk, just kind of like up at you. She just kind of like, she doesn't do anything. She's not harmful. She's a curious little sister, I guess. But like, is Balloon Boy and JJ going to be in it? What about the withered animatronics? Oh yeah, we keep those for spare parts. And are we gonna see those? So I'm kind of curious how much of the second game we're gonna actually see on screen. But being able to see Henry, being able to see William Afton, together. We'll get to probably see Charlie, obviously, which means we'll get to see Vanessa and Charlie interacting together when they were kids, or however, whatever the case is. So that'll be cool. And yeah, I saw this. I was like, wow, that is peak cinema. So I can't wait for this movie to come out. The first one was amazing. The fact that they took a game where you just sit there and watch computer monitors and click around and all that, how they made that into a movie, made it fun and faithful to the game, to the games, while also making it its own thing. The references, the freaking Matt Pat showing up, and, saying it's just a theory. I mean, come on. It was such a good movie. And it was even better the second time, because in the theaters, I had people next to me that wouldn't shut the fuck up. So it was hard to enjoy. But then I watched it on here, was it Amazon Prime? And I'm like, wow, I didn't notice that before. I didn't notice that because people wouldn't shut the fuck up. So I was able to go back and enjoy it. I'm like, that was a lot better than I remember it being when I saw it in theaters. But yeah. If you don't agree with Skeet as Henry, who do you think would be a good Henry Emily? And which animatronic are you most happy and eager to see? Mine would definitely be Mangle. Just because it'd be so cool to see Mangle together and moving around and, watching the pain that they have to go through every day of being ripped apart by kids and put back together. And then, eventually they just leave that as a project, and then Mangle just kind of like, little head over here, arm all the way over here, bent over, where they have to like climb on walls and all that. So to see Mangle together was really, really cool. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.